Hello, welcome to Win Some Lose More. My name is Dieter Loosemore, and I'm joined by Rick Loosemore. And we are too loose for the purposes of these videos, and we join us for a top 50. We are at the third and the sort of halfway mark because we will hit the 25th game. We are 30 to 21. Now, I seem to have hit an interesting pattern. The first video had one new game. The second video had two new games. In this third video, I have three new games.
I also have three new games, but I
Well, there
haven't
you
followed
go.
that pattern. No.
So let's just see what they are. Number 30, what have you got?
Number 30 is not a new game. It was 23 last time, so dropped a little bit, but probably in the margin of error with the new ones that have come in.
Yeah.
Just one. You mentioned
nice.
At number 50, the party game where one person doesn't know the clue, but everyone else does, and they have to give a one-word answer, but you're not allowed to have the same as someone else. And so if you write green and someone else writes green and you're going for the word ogre, then both those greens have to get washed away. And so the third person on your team is the only person left, and they've written smelly or onion or whatever. And the person guessing about smelly, toilet, or I don't know, onion, is it roast dinner, or I don't know what's going on here. That's a terrible example, but that's just one. And again, you don't play for points, you just play for fun because it's fun. Just one. Number 30.
My number 30 is for just one player.
Oh, okay.
My favorite game of 2019, is that true? I don't know. McKee. This is a one player only worker placement game where you're playing as the French resistance in World War II.
Okay, wow.
And each time you play, you're trying to achieve a couple of different missions. Again, there's a whole couple of decks of missions that exist. And it's a worker placement thing, but you're trying to track a route back, but then patrols come out that might capture your people. So you need to recruit new people, get supplies, turn them in for other things, help the poor at the same time, because that's part of the resistance against an occupying regime, is to actually care about your people, because they don't. I have slightly personal bias in this, in that when they did the Kickstarter for the second edition and expansion, which is coming soon, they used my videos, and I was incredibly excited. But genuinely, I still pull this out, still have a lot of fun with it, looking forward to the expansion content coming. McKee is just, again, a charming aesthetic. I can't put my finger on what it is. It's not quite cell shading, but more in that kind of realm than anything else. Just looks kind of cool, McKee.
Well, I can say that I have none of that shady business with I don't put out videos and don't get paid for content. So you can trust what I say. I am not a crook. 29 is Watergate, which is the game of All the King's Men, if you've seen that film, or if you know about the Watergate scandal, where Tricky Dick, Richard Nixon, that's a Futurama joke.
Futurama.
Nixon has done some dirty deeds, and the Washington Post, I think it is, are trying to out him. And this is a two-player only, where one is Nixon, one is the Washington Post. And it's kind of simple, actually. You draw some stuff and you play some stuff, and the mechanic is quite simple, but it's very historically rich and very interesting. And we had this briefly, we didn't keep it. We really enjoyed it, but my wife never wanted to play as Nixon. She was like, I can't do that. And then I'd win, and she'd feel really bad about that. I don't want to be Nixon. I also don't want Nixon to win. So it's like conflict of interest. But yeah, really, really interesting little political game, and got lots of some historical flavor text and stuff like that. So yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't as yet.
No, and I've never tried. What's the big one? The Civil War one.
Cold War
one. Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
People talk about this as being like a condensed version of that, and I think I'd really like that one. And again, I'm not sure she and I will ever get to give that one a go, because that's another two-player, much bigger. But I'd like to try that. I like history and stuff like that, and so then this being a condensed version of that was quite, it was much more amenable. But yeah, number 29, Watergate.
So that was my then question, was as a Brit, how engaging was the history? I know from American reviewers, they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is fascinating because we
yeah,
know
yeah,
this,
yeah,
we're alive
yeah.
for this. And
You have to want to. Yeah, you have to want it. But Watergate is something that we find quite interesting anyway. We like the film All the President's Men. We liked it's called The Post, wasn't it? The Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks one,
yes,
which is almost like the precursor to that. Watched Frost Nixon recently as well. It's something that interests us.
sure.
If you don't know anything about it, I think it might feel just abstract and not very engaging, actually. So
Because your
yeah,
actions are things that actually happen, is that right? Your
yeah, yeah,
cards
yeah.
are
Yes,
referencing real
yes,
life.
yes. But you can definitely play it blind to all of
Sure.
that kind of thing. You just like it's the right number and the right color. But yeah, yeah, you definitely will be enhanced by having it.
Cool. So another trend that seems to have appeared, I think I've had at least one deck builder in every list.
Uh,
And so my 29 is the daddy Dominion.
let's come back to this.
29 Dominion.
And I'll talk about another deck builder at 28, which is not Dominion, but it is a slow deck builder. And a bit like we had Viscounts, didn't we, last time?
That's right.
Yeah, and this is another new one. Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh, not where I thought you were going with that at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Feel free to talk about this one.
Thank you. I'm just checking that that's what the vibe is.
I thought, yeah.
So Lost Ruins of Arnak's kind of an Indiana Jonesy theme. Again, they did a very good job of sort of avoiding maybe some colonialist edges. That you're going in exploring. If you've seen the Dora the Explorer movie, Explorer good, treasure hunter bad. It's very much that mindset. If you haven't seen Dora Explorer, watch it. It's really, really funny. British director he did stuff like Flight of the Conchords, so that sort of self-knowing humor didn't do very well in America. Pena. Yes, exactly. Like it a lot. Anyway, less of my daughter's TV choices. But yes, you're exploring and documenting historical artifacts that you find. And it's again a slow deck builder, and you have a hand that enables you to do some worker placement and enables you to get more gear. You can import it into this island so that you're stronger in the future. A nice little twist on the deck builder thing: if you import stuff and you buy stuff, that's one set of currency, money, that goes in your discard pile, very much like many deck builders. If you discover stuff, and that uses a different currency, which is time or exploration tokens, rather, similar sort of thing, that goes straight into your play pile. So you've discovered this, I don't know, spear or turtle or whatever, and you go and you can use it straight away. And then you can go and dig up areas, and you face beasties who are trying to defend it, but the beasties might help you because to get to certain parts of it, you need to walk to it, and other places you need to catch boats or cars, and other places you need to fly. So once you finally catch the respect of this giant flying beastie, maybe you can ride on its back and fly off to discover the new land or whatever it is. There's lots going on, but it's kind of simple, it's kind of fun. And I liked it. I didn't like it maybe quite as much as I was expecting to.
Okay.
And so it's one that's in my 20, where are we, 28?
Yeah,
I liked it a lot, but I thought I was going to love it. We'll see. I think it's one of those, you can see it on the knife edge. It's going to drift into like top 20 for EVs, or it's going to drift into top 50 to 100, and we'll see.
So my number 28, I'm gonna say tentatively as well, because I know it will be in your list somewhere. I don't know whether it will be now. I suspect later. I did not do the gross thing of including the number in the number. This is Seven Wonders Duel.
You can keep talking.
Okay. So this is a 2-player and superior version of Seven Wonders.
Superior.
Vastly superior. Just 2-player only. It's a drafting game, and you're building your tableau and building wonders, and only 7 can be built, so somebody will have more than somebody else. But it's a table draft instead of a pick and pass that we spoke about with Sushi Go. The original 7 Wonders, pick and pass, you go around. And there's just a couple of elements that actually neither of us like, but I don't like the military. I don't particularly care about the science and whatnot. And they still exist in this. You're building a civilization thematically, but because it's a table draft, you're puzzling it out much more, and you're only against one person. So it doesn't feel like, oh, I forgot about you, and now I've lost something for no reason, because that's
Yeah,
the way the
yeah,
game works.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you didn't know what you were picking. It just so happened that you'd screwed me. This is much more controlled, much more, I think sedate is the wrong word, but like calm and collected and like quiet in that sense. And then they screw you over, but you saw it happening. And so it's just a better reaction for me. So it's a lot more fun, but still just a very simple, good, solid design. You set it up, you play, set up next era, play that, set up next era, play that. Each of them draft slightly differently in how the cards are arranged. And you have half of the information at any given moment because some of the cards are face down. It just works really well. You can still win militarily. It's a tug of war going on down the side. You can still win
That's better.
with science, trying to get pairs of green cards together to unlock extra powers. I've never seen it, but you can. The fact that it's there is a good thing. But it normally comes down to points and how you've constructed your civilization when you chose to discard cards for money or use them to build your wonders, which if you don't have resources, you have to pay the cost because somebody else has got them. You're technically importing them, that kind of thing. So there's enough theme there. It's visually good enough, but mechanically super solid. And we've both tried at least one of the expansions and I just don't care. People are like, oh, it's essential. I disagree. You can spend the 15, 16 quid on the base game and you'll have a great game that you'll play many times and you'll have a good time with.
And if you want to spend 15 quid, again, don't get the expansion, buy the base game, give it to a friend, and then you can play it until they go to their house. Because it's completely fine on its own.
Or another game for £15. We'll talk about another time. Seven Wonders Duel, number 28.
My number 27 is Vast. This is I know. Where was it last year? 19, so it's fallen a little bit, but I think, but it's still very good. Vast is one from Leader Games, who specialize in asymmetric 4-letter title games, some of which will come up later, I'm sure. But Vast is one where someone is playing a dragon, some people are playing goblins, some people are playing a cave, and each
it always gets me. It always gets me.
And you all have a different rule set. The dragon is trying to escape the cave. The goblins are trying to kill the knight. The knight is trying to kill the dragon. There's also a thief who's wandering around trying to just get gold. And the cave is sick of the lot of them, and he's trying to collapse in on all of them. And every single person has a totally different rule set, and yet they interact perfectly on the game board, which actually is the cave. But and I just don't know how they do it. It's really difficult to teach, and I really wish it wasn't, because I don't have it in my collection, because I won't ever get to play it. But it's really clever and it's really fun. Oh, and art. Sorry, yes, Carl Ferrin. I apologize. You genius, you beautiful bearded genius. It just looks great. It feels great. It's smart and it's fun and it's vast. 27.
None of them are in my top 50 now.
Oh no.
But the two that will come up in your lists, Vast and the other, just through sheer lack of play.
Okay, yeah,
they were both there last time and they've both dropped out.
That's fair.
And then Oath, that I do have, I haven't played enough to know.
Okay.
And it's a game that demands play, and I just haven't had the opportunity. So
that's why we didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful things, undeniably incredible designs. Just I don't play them, so I couldn't.
That's fair.
My number 27 is a new game to the list. You spoke about Bonanza a couple of lists ago as a Uwe Rosenberg game, and you said you never played any of the big ones. This is not one of the big ones. This is his other type. This is polyomino games, Tetris essentially. And I've had incredible success with New York Zoo.
Yeah.
What a fun, charming game it is. And it has bumped out Patchwork, which last year caused an uproar that it was in the 20s. Patchwork is no longer in my top 50. New York Zoo has utterly replaced it because it does what it does, but with animals. and I don't mean printed on a tile. I mean, you get to play with little animal figures and you get to do breeding, tee-hee. And it works.
I don't want to see Polyon when they're breeding.
It's interesting animals. It's meerkats and Arctic foxes and kangaroos and penguins. It's not the standard fare. It's interesting stuff. And I was thinking the overhead would be a little high. Taught my parents again when I was down in the January, and our mum doesn't like overhead at all. But because the theme was there, it just dragged it through perfectly, and she got it super quick. I even made a couple of mistakes, and she'd corrected me intuitively because the theme just made sense to her.
Yeah, sure.
And it just has that accessible charm. So even though the rule set's a little higher than things like Patchwork, which are absolute entry level, I'd still teach it to absolutely anybody because it's cute.
Great.
And the art's nice and the pieces are nice and the production's good. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's a race, which is much easier. First person to fill their grid, done. That's it. You don't have to worry about points. You're not scoring it. It's not a classic Euro in that sense. It's just the puzzle, fill the space, have fun breeding animals.
Yeah.
Cool. 27.
Yeah. Great. My 26 new entry was a new entry for you as well. The King is Dead, 2nd edition.
So good.
So good. Oh, I mean, the worst thing about the whole thing is that the box is too much air and it's probably too big on my shelf. But you have 8 cards, as Steve was saying, 8 cards if you saw the last round, and we are going to contest 8 different zones in Britain to decide who's king, which means you can just use 1 card because each action takes a card. So you're maximum going to have 8 turns or actions in the whole game. You can use 1 on each place that you're going to contest, or you can use them all in one go, and then the other person just has the run of the thing. And each of the things is fairly simple. And you know, when you first play it, all of your actions are the same. Yes, you can fold in those cunning plots or whatever they call them, the 3 different ones. So you've got 5 the same and 3 that are different. But my word, choices. You're just sitting there going, I could do that, or I could do that, or I could do that. And do you know what? I'm actually going to do none of that. I'm just going to pass. I'm going to see what you do. The other person, because once you've passed, you can come back in on any round. And so you go, I'm quite happy to let the French take over that bit. Oh, no, okay, fine. Oh, it's really hard, difficult game to explain. It's actually a really hard game to teach. What I tend to do now is I show the end state. So like, the yellow owns down here and blue owns up there and red owns up there, and then you've got this many, so you'd win because you've got more supporters. And they go, okay, now I can see where we're going to get to. And so then when you teach it, they go, oh, fine, so I want that. Oh my goodness, I want that, but I want to do this. And I taught my dad and our dad, and he's like, yeah, it's tricky, that one. I was like, yeah, why is it tricky? And he went, because you need to get the right cubes to get them in charge, but you also need those same cubes for you to support them to win. I'm like, yeah, that's the game. It's tricky. Yeah, it is. It is. But it's great, and it's really thinky, and it's short. 20 minutes. You can play this game, and you feel like you've played a full, meaty game.
Yeah.
Very good. Very special. 26.
My 26 is a big Uwe Rosenberg game. Two Uwe's in a row, but other ends of the category. Whatever. Le Havre.
Yes.
New to the list.
Yes,
Brand new to the list. Picked it up in a sale. Very excited. It's been on both of our radars for a couple of years, but it's always been too expensive for a box of cardboard.
Yes.
So much cardboard inside, and it's complex and lots of cards and really good. I get why people like it. I've now played a couple of the big box, three of the kind of big box games, and this is my favorite. It really is. And I haven't played it enough. I want to play it more. If I had any negative, it's that the cards available are the same every time, depending on player count. But but the version I got came with other content, so you can mix it up. So I can't make that complaint. So the only niggle I had about it is solved. It's sorted. So it's really
stop
good.
whining.
Fine, I will stop whining. It's just got a really cool. You're moving your boats along, which is a round marker as well, but then that triggers different resources to build up. So you need to push your luck and time when you're going to take them before somebody else takes the pile that's built up over that time to be able to pay for buildings, which allow you to then build shipping lanes, which allow you to do this stuff. So it's the typical Euro theme, but the way it's done is quite untypical compared to most of the other style games. So Le Havre just works really well for me. 26.
Okay, 25 for me was in the top 10 last year.
Oh, we'll talk about it later.
You reckon?
We'll see. Be my guess.
I think we probably will.
Okay.
We'll see.
It's a risk now.
Now it's a risk, yeah. 24. Oh no, 25. You do 25. Yeah.
My 25 is the last of the ones that were brand new last year that I played and was very excited about, but this one has stayed. This is only dropped one place. This is Glenmore 2 Chronicles. It's helped.
You still want to play?
It's helped that I've got the expansion now, which allows me to play solo, so I get to refresh my love of the game. But just the core game, I've barely played any of the Chronicles. I've got like 12 different modules that I can use with it, but just the pure base game is so well designed that I'll happily play that forever. Only if I get super bored will I even really bother with most of the Chronicles. But they're there and they're all good and they're great and it just works really well. Beautiful production. You know what I love is a thick cardboard box. I don't know why, but there's just something that when you're lifting that lid, you're going, this is quality, this is quality, this is quality. Look inside, I was right, this is quality. Everything's just so well produced. The tiles are thick. It's so weird, but it just works really well. But I'm gonna bring it, and I have to bring it at some point. You have to play this game. It's great.
I really want to.
What's your 24?
Okay, my number 24, up 22 places.
Oof.
And I stopped you talking about it earlier. It's Dominion, and I'm surprised that it's up 22 places. But again, I did this blind. I didn't look at where stuff was before.
Yeah.
And it's because there's stuff like Lost Ruins and Star Realms and other deck builders and Viscounts that have done something a little bit different with the system. And if I go back to my question that I've asked throughout this list, what do I really want to play tomorrow? Dominion keeps coming back. And I go, it's really good. And it's interesting to mess with mechanics, but sometimes it's just good to play a straight up deck builder.
Yeah.
You talk about
it. Similarly, it's up 6 for me for no reason.
Yeah.
I haven't really played it this year as compared to last. A couple of times maybe. That's about it. Just you think about it and you just go, I can't think of a problem. I can't think of. And then you look at other games where you've got clear opinions, this, that, or the other, and just go, no, I'd rather play Dominion. It's just nice setup. The core box comes with loads of different types of cards, so you actually get quite a few different games within the box. There are billions of expansions if you ever bother. I never have. Don't care. I'll happily just play the base set casually every now and then. It just works. It has a really nice arc. When do you clog up your hand with the things that are actually going to win you the game, the points cards that don't do anything? Versus when are you buying the cards that do powers? Do you buy lots of small ones that allow you to do lots of tricky things, or do you go save up and get big stuff? But then do you buy money? Buying money feels like it's just clean design. It's just good.
It's great. Yeah, agree. What was yours? 28 for Dominion.
29.
Well, that's pretty close. 24, 29.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
My 24. We're going back to France. To Burgundy. and the Castles of.
I'll just turn off my screen.
Hideous game. Down 3, so about the same. Just scratches an itch like no other game does.
Sure.
I love the core action selection game. Action selection. Don't know why I'm not saying this properly. You roll a couple of dice.
Yep.
And whatever number they are, that's what you can do. And that's not you rolled a 1, therefore you can do this. You then get to choose what kind of action you do, but the number determines what within that thing you get to do. Yep. So if you want to draft a tile, you can only take from the number 1 area. Or if you want to build a tile that you've previously brought onto your board, you can only place it onto a number 1 place.
Sure.
Or if you want to, whatever you want to do, you get to do the number 1 version or the number, whatever number it might be. But then there's ways of mitigating that, which is super important in dice games, is to be able to change that number as you need.
Absolutely. Yes.
Or just get rid of a die to get 2 of these workers, which allow you to change the number. So there's always something you can do, even if you don't get to do the big move that you were hoping because somebody snaked a thing from under you. No turn feels wasted. It does a really good job at that. And then depending on what tile you build in, they have a different power. So if you go after shipping ones, you get to sell goods and earn money and points that way. Or if you go after like technology based civic type, but I forget, but yellow buildings give you end game scoring. Or there's pasture lands to build up a set collection thing. I have like 7 cows in one area, therefore they score a certain thing. And then when on your board, if you fill up a whole region of a particular type, you get extra points, but diminishing returns as the game goes on because it's easier to complete it later. So it's not worth so much. And so just all of these things just smoothly balanced together. Don't play with more than 3, you'll die of boredom. But 2-player, amazing. 3, really pretty good. Great game, and so cheap because it's hideous.
I've never dipped my pen into that particular inkwell because I just can't get over how ugly it is. But I have played the card game version and I did enjoy it, so maybe I would. Okay, number 23. Up 7, no thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a simple game of set collecting, pushing your luck. It just works. I don't care. I don't know. I looked at it, I was like, how did this go up 7? I thought, oh, because I've played it with everyone. So we had a games night with my church group a couple of weeks ago, and I realized, flip, we haven't done that in 2 years. And there were people in the group who went, oh, how do you play this? I was like, how do you play this? I have played No Thanks with literally everyone in the whole world, including our dearly departed grandfather, who has immortalized the phrase as he said no thanks to the same card, said, nobody loves you, 32. It can be played by everyone. It's got maths in there, but it's also just got silly push your luck. And it's not very pretty and it's not very elegant, but it just is fun. And if you want to play a good game with 3 to 7 players and you want a tiny, tiny box, play No Thanks, because you'll love it. The end.
I'm going to hold any comment for another time.
23, how can it be at 23? It's such a simple game.
Oh, you wait. My 23, down 15 places. I lied about Glenmore because I'd forgotten. This was also one that was like super hot because I'd just got it.
Yeah.
Was in the top 10 by that maths.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
The Crew?
Underwater Cities.
Ooh, what a fall. Ooh.
And I can only cite lack of play.
Yeah, fair.
Because even when, because you kind of got into, you can. You got into it after me talking about it. Well, you'd convinced me to buy it. So I bought it, loved it, told you to then go out and buy it. So you bought it.
I hadn't played it by the time we did this last year.
No, that's right. So when we talk about it, I remember and be like, oh yes, there's all this that I love, this, and this. The puzzle is so crunchy and satisfying, and the player aids are way better than you think they are. So it actually is a little more intuitive than it presents itself to be. It's really good. It's really good. It just feels like effort.
Sure.
To pull it out, to set it up, to get it, particularly for solo. And I just need to beat 100 points, which I don't do. I think I've hit the 90s once.
Sure.
It's really good, but it's a lot of effort for.
Yeah. Okay.
So it just doesn't come out as much.
Yeah. That's fair. So I mean, I've only really played it 3 times in the 8 months that I've owned it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is hard to get out. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So that is the only reason, because everything else about this game, I love it. Even the aesthetics I live with, even the production quality is good enough that it doesn't make me go, oh, it's bad. It's just, it's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. 22 then. Mm-hmm. You gave me as a Christmas present, took a bit of a punt, down 4 spaces, Fields of Green. Just keeps hanging in there. Drafting game, a bit like, if you're playing more than 2 player, it's a bit like Sushi Go. You pick up and pass as you go around. I've never played it in more than 2 player because I really like the table draft, which is a bit like Seven Wonders Duel that he was talking about a couple of videos ago, I think.
No, a couple of numbers ago.
Was it? Okay. Oh,
yeah, 28.
Oh, there you go. Pretty close. Yeah, and you're building a farm and there's a spatial element to it, and you're trying to get crops to feed the animals, but you need water to grow the crops, and it's point salady, and it's like I had to think about it. I'm like, it's pretty underwhelming. And it's like, in terms of like what's new, what's different in the genre in terms of drafting, or resource management or spatial, nothing. Is it really well produced? No. Is the art brilliant? Oh, it's a bit perfunctory. Is the box too big? Yes, it's really frustrating because it's only a pack of cards. But I just really enjoy playing it. And sometimes you just get those games, you're like, this is better than the sum of its parts. And more fun than I think anyone gives it credit for. But I really like it. Fields of Green, 22.
Nice. Yeah, wow.
I know.
It was complete punt.
Yeah.
Because I'd had the space version, Among the Stars.
Which we played and I quite liked, but not that much.
Yeah, and you said, oh, this other one, I think I'd prefer the theme. So I picked it up in a trade and was like, here's a couple of games I got in a trade, have fun.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, really like it.
It does just work though. My 22 does just work. Race for the Galaxy. Down 2, so basically the same.
Yeah.
Super solid. It's just a lot of fun. Again, I would caveat with the first expansion. It would still probably be maybe in the 20s, but more likely 30s without it, because the first expansion adds mid-term goals, which suits the way my brain works. I'm not good at complete strategy, but I like more than just tactical. And action selection, which seems to be a theme for me.
Yes.
You've got a hand of cards that each represent a different action, and everybody chooses one, reveals at the same time, and everybody does all of the actions, but the one that you chose, you get a better version of. That's just a really cool follow mechanism that just works. A few other games have used it now. The small new Terraforming Mars game, Ares Expedition, has kind of borrowed this quite closely. It's come from things like Puerto Rico and San Juan. So it's tried and tested, and it just works really well. I'm a bit more spacey than you are.
In so many ways.
So, my youth. So the art style doesn't bother me so much. I know it wouldn't look as nice for you. So maybe the Terraforming Mars one would be a better one to look at, because there's more art assets on it than just here's a planet or here's a generic looking alien. But system-wise, mechanically, brilliant. Really, really, really good. And it's there's loads of cards, so it's different every time. Solid. Race for the Galaxy, number 22.
Great. Well, my 21, you see, I'm all mixed up. Did you say it this turn? Did you say it last turn? I don't know.
You'd have stopped me if I'd said it this turn.
That's true as well. Yes, Lost Cities.
Yeah, last turn.
Yeah, up from 32. I don't think I've played it. Well, I probably have played it in the last year since we played. I just thought about it and I go, great, works, nice, really competitive. Cheryl and I have got really angry at each other because you just take the thing I really, really wanted. And well, why would you do that? Well, because it's a 2-player game that's designed to be combative. Stupid theme. There's nothing really going on there, but it's just getting colors in certain, numerical order and whatever. But the absolute benchmark for 2-player games. And there are some higher ones on here for me, but yeah, again, you want a 2-player game, just get Lost Cities. It just so perfect, so perfectly balanced, so easy to play. Yeah, magic Lost Cities 21.
Now, last video, we both talked about Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
We did.
And now this video, before the West Kingdom came the North Sea.
Yes.
This
is my 25.
Historically, just within the series of games.
That is
Although
true.
probably the North Sea came first. So my 21, new to me, you taught me a couple of months ago, June time, whenever it was. Raiders of the North Sea. Amazing Viscount worker placement. Shem Phillips does an incredible job at going, worker placement's great, but it gets boring. So how can we make it?
Huh?
What do we do to spice it up a bit more?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So you are Vikings going on an expedition, or you are raiding the North Sea, and you have a homeland that you place a worker and you get supplies, or you hire a new person for your crew, and you might need a certain number of crew to be able to go and raid that particular space, or you might need this many monies or gold to fund the expedition, or food to feed your people, or whatever it is. It's a normal worker placement. So you place a thing, but then, Shem Phillips, you pull off a worker from another place where someone has left one before. So you only ever have one worker. And that one you pull off, you also get to do that action. So you're like, oh, great. So I need to buy that person, but I need the money. So if I put the thing on the money here and then I pull that off, then I've got the money to hire that person. But that's only if the people before you have left the appropriate empty space and filled space for you to be able to do that. The other thing that happens is that you have a black, grey and white worker, which denotes how robust and powerful your Viking raiders are becoming. And there's some pretty gruesome art on some of the cards of like people going into battle with berserker claws and what have you. But the more you experience going on raids, the color of your worker changes, and they're able to go on more advanced raids and that kind of thing. And so you might put down a black worker, but actually pull a white worker that actually someone else has put there, and they're really mad at you because you've done that. Really, how did it end up in 25 for me? It was number 9 last year. I think the only thing I can say is that some of the other games that will turn up in a little bit just have a little bit more to grab me, because after a while I've found this is thematically really fun. You know, you're going on raids, you've got these characters, you build up a crew, then they die in a fight out in, I don't know, Northumberland somewhere near where I am. And then you've got to get some more crew. There's so much good theme here. And I just feel like actually as Garfield Games, Shem Phillips have gone on, they've just tightened up the mechanics a little bit. Sure. That I go, I just maybe drift that way, because this feels a little bit more style over substance. It's very good substance, but the style is just maybe I'm splitting hairs. It's a great fun game. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, it's the first worker placement I've ever played where nobody owns any worker.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I place out mine, I pull other ones, but then I get my color back. No. Everybody has access to all of them once they're on the central board. Mm-hmm. And then even once you've upgraded yours, that actually, for me, I think when we played, started being a bad thing, because they can't do some of the early actions. They're now fighters. That's what they do. They have to go out fighting these forts, and you're like, well, I don't need to do that. I need to do this other stuff. Oh no, I've actually cornered myself by racing up here to do this. And so it's just the expansions really help. And tighten up the marrying of the mechanisms in the theme, that suddenly there's more use for this stuff, and it just provides more interest. You're probably right. You played it far more than I have. I wonder if it would stay here. I know last time we discussed it, we both had it at 21 a few months ago. So I would have to see, but I'm keen on it right now. Just makes me excited to think about.
I'm not keen on it. Again, that matrix of what do I want to play tomorrow? There's a couple of things coming up that I'm like, that please.
Sure. You know? And coming up they are. That's 30 to 21. So next is into the top 20. What a list. Oh gosh, what a list. Sorry, I've just scrolled up to my next batch. Great games. Far less crossover than I was expecting up here.
Okay. Maybe it's coming.
Well, no, I mean, I'm looking. Yeah, maybe we'll have some, but less than I was expecting. So yeah, we hope you join us for it. Do subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and hit the bell icon so you stay updated when new stuff comes out, like the 20 to 11 that we will be doing next time. In the meantime, you can find me on social media. Just search Win Some Lose Some on all the usual platforms. Do get in touch. It'd be great to hear. What games do you love? Stick them down in the comments. Are we mad? Have we completely lost the plot in any of these games? What are we missing that you're expecting to see there? Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again soon. I've been Dieter. He's been Rick. I've been watching Win Some Lose Some. See you. Bye.